Hello, today we are doing the end of the year book tag. This was on my schedule for my TBR video where I talk about everything that I want to read and film in the month of October. This was on my schedule, but I had it for next week, but I've moved some things around. Just so you know, the fall book tag that I was planning on doing today is just, it's still not book tag. The fall book recommendations is still happening. It'll just be next week. So the end of the year book tag, every year I do it around this time of year because some of the questions are about, you know, an autumnal read that you want to read, or about like what you plan to do, what you plan to read before the end of the year. So it's really designed to be done a little bit before the end of the year. So here we are. There are 6 questions. I'm going to have them linked in the description if you want to answer them as well in the comments. I would love to read your answers as well. I will also have, I wonder if the original, hold on, let me check to see if the original is still live. It is. Okay, the original is still an active video, so I'll have that linked as well. The tag was created by Ariel Bissett, so I'll have the original video as well as the questions all in the description. Question number 1. Are there any books you started this year that you need to finish? Other than books that I'm actively reading, which I don't think is what this is about, I think it's about books that you started and then kind of set aside and you plan on returning to? I don't believe I have one. I've had a couple of books that I've soft DNF'd, that I've said, I'm setting this aside, we'll see if I feel the need to come back to it, but I don't think I actually have a good answer for this, so I'm just gonna say Malazan. Oh, whoops, these are still messed up from a previous video. Malazan, which is a series that I plan on not completing, but continuing. It's been a long gap between my Malazan books. It was on the October TBR, so this shouldn't come as too big of a surprise to anyone. But I plan on starting the next book in October, not completing it, but starting it and completing it by the end of the year. Malazan is a series that takes a lot out of me, so I take breaks between the books, but I'm very excited to dive back in. Question number 2, do you have an autumnal book to transition you into the new year? So this is a great question. I think I do, because to me, and you'll see this in my autumn book recommendations, to me an autumnal book could mean very nature-based, set during the autumn time. It could be cozy, it could be feel-good, it could be just very atmospheric. I think there are a couple of different things that could describe what makes something feel autumnal. Actually, I would love to hear what you think in the comments. How do you define an autumnal book, other than just set during fall time? But what is another definition that you use for that? And that could help me curate my fall book recommendations list even a little bit more specific according to what your thoughts and interests are in what kind of books you like to be recommended during the fall time. So let me know about that. But on an autumnal book, I do have a couple. So I think the most obvious one that's upcoming is the stories we tell, the teller of small stories. Which is, here, I'll put it here, which is, I believe, set during fall time. This is one that I actually don't know if I'm gonna pick up or not. I probably will at least try it, but it'll depend on if it's available at my library, because I don't want to purchase this because I'm very on the fence on if I would actually like it or even finish it. So I'm just going to see what the library's availability is after it's released, but this is one that is definitely on my radar that I think fits autumnal book very well. And the other book that is on my radar that I think would fit really well is We Shall Be Monsters. This too is going to be a new release. It might already be out by now, I can't remember now. Both of these books were in my video on the last of the new releases this year that look really interesting to me, that I'm gonna at the very least be looking into, keeping an eye on, seeing what some of the early reviews say. But We Shall Be Monsters is one that I for sure do want to read, and I know that it's set around a girl who isn't meant to go into the forest because of the dangers that lie there, but she goes in the forest, and it's said to be an atmospheric tale, and I think it kind of fits that vibe as well as like abstract magics, things that are too lofty and kind of spooky that we don't actually know what the forest could hold. It feels very autumnal to me. Question number 3, is there a new release you're still waiting for? Whoopsie! Well, I was just pulling from new releases. Should I have pulled from something else? Hold on. Let me back up to question 2, sorry, and look at my TBR and see if there's an autumnal book that's not a new release. Not really. I have a Christmassy book that Joanna recommended me that I have in my December TBR, but I don't really have anything on the books right now that fits that category really well. But I will be looking out for people in the comments that are filling out these questions themselves and see what autumnal books other people are looking at reading before the end of the year. Question number 3, is there a new release you're still waiting for? Right. So, yeah. Quite a few. Here's a new release video where I talked about those things. Probably the one that is the most immediate, definitely the one that is the most immediate that I'm looking forward to is Absolution, which is the 4th book for the, oh, it's not on my shelf. Why do I keep tricking myself? It's the 4th book for the Southern Reach trilogy. The first book is called Annihilation. It's one of my all-time favorite books. I love this trilogy. 10 years later, Vandermeer has decided there must be a book 4, and that's what I'm gonna read. And I'm really excited about it. Also slightly nervous because Nico read an early copy, had some mixed feelings about it, but it's the one that I'm waiting for the release date for. Question number 4, what are 3 books that you want to read before the end of the year? Well, the Malazan book, Toll the Hounds, I want to have completed before the end of the year. I'm going to read Never Let You Go by Ishiguro, but I also would love to read one more of his books before the end of the year. Joanna, Jimmy, and I are talking about possibly doing one of his books every other month, assuming that we continue to enjoy his work and continue to want to do that. We just like having an author that we're all kind of exploring together. So more Ishiguro. What's one that I don't talk about a lot that's really on my radar? I think I'm gonna say Small Things Like These. This is the book that Joanna recommended to me. I believe this is the one that she said was kind of Christmassy. I need to go back and double check because she recommended 2 books to me, but I'm pretty sure this is the one that's Christmassy. If not, I'll have the other one on the screen. Okay, I just double checked because it was bothering me. Yes, it is. And actually, she also recommended Foster to me because, you know, I'm an adoptive mom and I care about the system. I worded that weird, but I just realized that I was about to talk about more personal things that she knows about me. But anyway, Foster and Small Things Like These are by the same author, and she recommended them both to me, and they're not ones that I've talked about on the channel up to this point, but here I am. These are 2 books that I'm interested in reading by the end of the year. They're both very short. They're both like an hour long, so in the audiobook version, which is what Scribd had. So they would be quick reads for me. So I guess I didn't answer that question very well, but I'm gonna call it good. Question number 5, is there a book you think could still shock you and become your favorite book of the year? Maybe, let me look. I think Ishiguro could easily do it. After reading Clara and the Sun, I just feel like I found my author, and even though that isn't, I don't think that Clara and the Sun is going to be my favorite book by him, but based on the way he wrote it, I think that I'm going to enjoy exploring more of his stories, and I could see that working out. This is a weird question because what do you mean something that could shock me? If I think that it could become a favorite book of the year, why would that be a surprise? I'm gonna say Housekeeping. That's a good answer. That's one that I'm going to be reading at the end of October, or at the very least starting it at the end of October. And it's a book that, based off of its description on like Amazon, Goodreads, whatever, the publisher description of it, it really just doesn't sound that good. But based off of the way the commenter described it that I took the recommendation from, it sounds like something that could be perfect for me. So I feel very like, I hope I like it, but I don't know. It could go either way, but it could surprise me and be such a hit that it's like you're going to be annoyed by me talking about it too much, like I tend to do with my favorites. Question number 6, have you already started making plans for next year? Not really, actually. Usually I think I answer this question yes. But no, I haven't thought about next year's goals. I haven't thought about what I want to be reading next year. I really haven't thought about next year at all. Actually, this year is still just kind of kicking my butt. So I'm just, I think about tomorrow and I think about today. No, I really haven't thought about making any reading plans for next year. I know that I want to continue. I really like the goal that I've been doing for continuing series, prioritizing continuing series, specifically obviously the series that I really enjoy. There are series that I drop. I'm not making myself finish everything that I start, but the series that I really enjoy, I'm prioritizing being consistent with them. And want to continue doing that in 2025. I really like doing the quarterly goals and check-ins and like best books of the quarter and challenging myself to read in the next quarter one book from every author that made my top 3, that whole quarterly thing that I've been doing. I really like doing that. I think it keeps me on track with my goals. It keeps me on track with making sure that I'm following up with authors and series that I'm really loving, which I think is really good. And in 2024, I really didn't set a lot of goals for myself as far as reading specific types of things, or in the past I've done like one nonfiction a month, one classic a month, one of 3 different genres every month. Like, I would set these goals to make sure that I was reading really broadly and making sure that I was just stretching myself a lot. And in 2024, I did the exact opposite. I didn't set any goals like that, and I just said, read what you want. If you're feeling fantasy, read fantasy. If you're feeling literary fiction, read literary fiction. Just do what you feel. I think I do really like this structure and challenging myself and saying like, this is the goals that I want to meet, not number wise, but as far as making sure that I'm not just kind of reading the same type of thing over and over again. So I might do something in the middle in 2025 where I challenge myself a little bit more than I did in 2024, but still leave plenty of room for me to just, you know, read what feels good to read. I actually don't know. I'll have to assess these things. I know that I want to continue reading a lot more of the authors that have been consistently writing books that I love. But as far as books that I plan on reading in 2025, no, I don't have any goals whatsoever. And that's it. Those are the 6 questions. This is a quick tag, which makes it a quick video. I'm excited to read what y'all write in the comments, what you plan on reading and doing in the rest of this year, and looking forward into next year. So please do chat with me more in the comments. I'll see you again soon. Bye.